All right, welcome everyone to the Chronologically Gaming pre-show, where we play every video game in order of release, every video game on all home consoles, every video game on every home computer, at least every home computer we can get to emulate. We started playing all the video games in 1971, and we are currently in December 1982. We play bad games, we play terrible games, we play broken games, we play the best games, we play good games. It's because we play every game. Hey Brian, yes, good game. You saw the thumbnail, you know what's coming up. Hey Brad, howdy. Welcome in. And welcome for a fun one. It's alive. It's alive. Well, I'm alive. We are having yet again a computer issue. For some reason, the operating system is not recognizing the playlist and mixer of my volume levels. So I can control the volume of my voice, but I don't know about the computer controlling the volume of my voice. Paul's already rating the game. We haven't even seen the game. Just pretend it's December 1982. You know, it's right before Christmas. Activision's gonna make some game. You don't know what it is yet, but you go to the store and it actually sounds like a strange name, and you don't know until you pop it in. Of course, everyone that's here has seen this game or heard of the game. Welcome in to Chronologically Gaming, where we have so many video games. Yes, I actually just did, Brad. You're talking to tech support. That's the first thing everyone should try. But this one is going to be fun. So much. So many games. I'm so amazed we got it this far. Yeah, there we go, Brian. That's more like it. We've only seen all the video games up to this point. What is River Raid? We don't know. We're going to explore and discover it together. Oh, I love that comment, Paul. When you know you suck at a game, but you still rate it high because you know it's a good game. We've seen a few of those where I am terrible at the game, but I know it's a good game just because I'm weighing all the other games you could play up to this point. So just everyone think in your mind all the games we played on home consoles up to this point. Or tell yourself, are you the kind of a viewer who's been here since the beginning? Have you seen every game that we've played up to this point? Or are you just tuning in, checking out the show? You like retro games, maybe you only see it a few times, but we're going to be rating this game based on every other video game you could play across all home consoles up to this point. No, John Hand, it was not. It is original. Well, it's based on lots of scrolling shoot-'em-ups. But there is no such thing as a River Raid in the arcade, especially right now in December 1982. And the last few shows we did, we had lots of ports. Arcade games brought home to the home consoles. This one's an original. Yes, Paul, it is amazing. I may even call it a masterpiece, but we'll see what happens. Hold your ratings until the time comes. If you want to, you can go and throw out your ratings like Paul did. Just remember, the Vectrex is out too as a console. How does this compare to vector-based graphics? That's what everybody wants to know. And I really appreciate everyone that's here for the live show in December 1982. Up to this point in gaming, we've come across games that on every home computer, games that I didn't expect us ever to see or play. We've even come across games where I just say, there's the game, because we're not able to play it. There's some games that are borderline lost. And we also check out magazines on the show. So we'll read through magazines, and as we're reading, we see, hey, this game's supposed to come out, and it never did. And there's no information or no one's dumped anything about the game except what you saw in the magazine. Vaporware. Howdy, Marshall. Welcome in. Oh, that's right, Brad. In the current age, that is exactly what's going on. Oh, yes. Gameplay is what matters. All right, it is showtime. Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. We're going all the way back to the beginning of December 1982. And we were last playing Ripoff for the brand new Vectrex. Our very next game is a big one. Let's see what it's all about.
We have no choice. He can't turn back.
River Raid target at 039.
Under control.
Oh, intense.
Taking West Canyon.
Good call.
Fuel critical, sir.
Choppers at 3 o'clock.
Roger, I copy.
The game's so good, it's being run by the Army.
He knows that. Sir, he's opting for the East Canyon.
Negative. That's a trap.
River Raid to home sweet home. It's
River Raid, can you make it? River Raid, can you make it?
It's only a game. River Raid for the Atari video computer system, designed by Carol Shaw for Activision.
That's right, it is
We have no
River
choice.
Raid.
He can't.
River Raid is finally released on the Atari 2600. I am so excited to check out River Raid first on the Atari 2600. This marks the 194th game we've seen on the Atari home console.
We have no.
Let's take a look at the box. This is River Raid, one of the best, if not the best, box covers that Activision's done so far. And this marks the 23rd time we've seen Activision so far on the show. We play game by game in order of release. Activision has 2 titles they've released on the Intellivision up to this point, Pitfall and Stampede. On the Atari 2600, this is their 21st game that we've seen up to this point. They've done classics like Pitfall, Ice Hockey, Star Master, Barnstorming, Mega Mania, and Kaboom. And this is pretty impressive because I just have a little nostalgia, maybe you could say, for River Raid, so maybe my rating's a little bit skewed, but you gotta admit, it's a good box. On the back of the box, they have an example of the screenshot, they show the developer, and they show you your mission, terrain, weaponry, tactics, all used with the Atari joystick.
We have no choice.
Let's take
He
a look
can't.
at the other artwork we have for River Raid. Besides the box, we have the later box. In 1988, there's a re-release. This is what the box looks like. I don't think in 1988 we're going to see this box, so I just wanted to show it now of the different look. This later one actually looks a little bit more like the classic Atari artwork rather than this. I like the old school, the first box. Yeah, right? Yeah, very early vertical shooter I saw from Marshall. And then the back of the later re-released box, they changed a few things up. This is the time when they were trying to compete with the Nintendo Entertainment System, but right now it's December 1982. We have no idea what that is. Besides the box, the idea we would have seen in magazines at the time is pretty good. And just like the commercial we saw, they're trying to make it look like it's a real war game. This is something that's new, fresh. The graphics are one of the best you could play on a home console. And this one, look at this. They added the grid. Every video game needs a grid in the 80s because of Tron. There's your mission, destroy enemy bridges and fuel dumps along a narrow, heavily fortified river canyon. A fight to the finish on the river of no return. This is the dealer art display you would have seen in store displays. Battle action on the river of no return. So intense. I mean, look at that. That's your face while you're playing the game. So cool. Did anyone check out and have the River Raid airplane that you put together? I had never heard of this until I saw it on Atari Mania. It says the Christmas present you can't get until December 26th. So expect it soon. If you end up making 15,000 points in River Raid, you get this, the classic Activision patch. The very first time you can have an achievement or a trophy is what they would call it now. This is Activision was one of the first to do this. You had a physical patch that you could put. I don't know anybody that put the patches on their or sewed them on their clothes. There's also the t-shirt for River Raid, completely different font. Is it a real River Raid t-shirt? I'm not quite sure. The hype is real. There's the cartridge for River Raid. The cartridge has the example of the screenshot. They want you to see how good the graphics are, and they're not shying away from just artwork. There's a re-release version in the blue cartridge. There's an example of what it looks like there. And it says it only has 2 different game modes that's on there. And besides that, the artwork is amazing. River
We have
Raid
no choice. He can't turn back.
It is pretty impressive. Let's take a look at the manual for River Raid and see how they describe the game or how we're supposed to play the game. Now, we're pretending like it's December 1982 and we played every video game up to this point, and we'll just say we haven't played River Raid. What's River Raid like compared to everything else up to this point? The manual already is very different. Look at this. They have a battle plan of operations showing the bridges that you're going to destroy. colorful and different than other Activision manuals. So already I'm intrigued. The basics is how to set it up, plug it in your system, make sure the power's on. The difficulty switches don't do too much. It just changes if you can steer your shots or not. But this one doesn't have game modes other than 1 or 2 player. So there's not different variations. We're not playing with hundreds of game modes like we did with Space Invaders. We're in the future, way beyond all that, like when the Atari was first released. You have a limited amount of fuel in this game, and you begin to run low, fly over a fuel depot for refuel. Here's the score values for tankers, helicopters, the fuel depot, the jets, and bridges. Oh, jets are 100 points. We got to get more of those. And then they have example of the screenshot showing you everything you can see on the screen. And early games, we wanted to know what exactly these things were on the screen. Nowadays, we know what it looks like, especially with River Raid. It already looks really good. They're showing the 2 joysticks, but you don't get to play at the same time. You're going to take turns hot seat arcade style. It's called the River of No Return. And I never knew that until reading the manual. I just knew I'm flying down the river and you can't crash into the walls. There's the fuel gauge that you need to make sure you watch out for. And if you lose a jet or a life, you can't get another one at 10,000 points. It explains how to get the feel of Activision, and they give us a few tips and tricks. How to join the Activision River Raiders, the patch we saw. You need 15,000 points. And there she is, Carol Shaw, the designer of River Raid. Carol Shaw is not new to Chronologically Gaming. This is the 6th game that she's been involved with, bringing us games like 3D Tic-Tac-Toe that we saw on the Atari home computer and the Atari 2600. She also did Video Checkers and was involved in Othello and Super Breakout. This is one of her masterpieces. And like Activision games, you saw in the commercial, they were crediting Carol Shaw in the commercial like a superstar. I love it. And then the manual ends with more of that artwork. Very, very nicely done.
We have no choice. We can't turn back. River Raid target
so this one has lots of versions and hacks.
Approaching.
We're going to pop in and play the very first. The beginning of December in 1982. This is River Raid by Activision. As the game begins, we have the scroll. We have 1 or 2 players if you want to do that. Down at the bottom, we have our fuel gauge. If I push reset, then it begins. It resets and it shows the scroll like anticipating what's about to happen. Already impressive. So I'm just going to go in a little bit to show you kind of what it's like. The game is auto-scrolling. Down at the bottom of the screen, I have a fuel gauge that's slowly ticking down. All I can do is move left and right. I don't get to move up and down on the screen, but if I'm pushed forward on the joystick, I start speeding up a lot. If you pull back on the joystick, then you slow down to a crawl. So while my plane only moves left and right on the screen, I have the ability to change the speed up. And the speed really doesn't matter when it comes to your fuel. Like if I'm going really fast, they're not following physics in River Raid. If I go really fast, I'm not going to burn more fuel. So essentially, if you want to make it through in the later parts of the game and not run out of fuel, then you want to go faster. This was originally inspired by Scramble. At least that's what Carol Shaw said. She wanted to make a game like Scramble, but Scramble was a side-scrolling shoot-'em or horizontally scrolling shoot-'em-up. And on the Atari 2600, it's kind of difficult to make that kind of smooth scroll. This vertical scroll was apparently a lot more possible. And you can feel that in the game. It has the fuel gauge just like Scramble did, and we're going through gates or different areas, and it just continues to scroll forever. Get that plane for 100 points. Oh man, the control is amazing. So if you've not played this, this feels like it is made for the Atari 2600. The joystick controlling the plane as you fly is so nice. Something that I notice about this game compared to all the other ones up to this point is majority of games that have a fuel gauge, they're basically using it as a timer, and this one is too. But this game is having you actually do something besides shooting the fuel. In other games like Scramble, you're having to bomb the fuel or shoot the fuel, and that's how you gain fuel, which doesn't make sense, but it works for the game. This one, you can shoot the fuel for points, but if you shoot it, it's destroyed. So if you've been playing all the games up to this point, you'd expect, I'm going to shoot the fuel like this, and I'm going to gain my fuel, because that's what most of the other games do, but this one doesn't. You actually need to slowly make your way like that over the top. You can max your fuel out. You hear the high-pitched ding. And the manual actually described the way to get fuel and get the points of the fuel depots. I'm playing with shocks that I can curve, so like I can go over the fuel and get the points for blowing it up at the same time. When I first played this, I thought I made that up and it was the coolest thing that I could get fuel and get the points. I can have it all. We're about to get our life here. We're definitely needing one. We're out of one. But the manual already described that to us. Yeah, I already seen Paul saying 5. He doesn't care what platform. So this is the first time we've seen this. It's going to be ported to other systems. And we will be seeing all of them because we see every port too as well. So the game modes is limited on this. There's not a lot of variety for how you play a multiplayer, or I mean, I can switch between angling my shot or not, but what you see for this game is what you get, and what you get is an amazing experience and a very, very fun game. This is the very first in the River Raid series. There's going to be a sequel, and then there's a more modern one if you wanted to check it out. We call these video games scrolling shoot-'em-ups. At this point, we've played, this is the 184th scrolling shoot-'em-up that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming up to this point. Oh, I think that's our last one, right? And that's across all systems, all platforms. Oh, I'm not done. Let's keep going. Get the high score. This is the 22nd scrolling shoot-'em-up that we've seen on all home consoles up to this point. And it's the 11th that we've seen on the Atari home console alone. Horizontally scrolling shooters are usually what we see on the Atari. For example, we've seen Chopper Command, that is like a Defender-style game. Defender is also on the Atari 2600. Star Wars is also available that scrolls horizontally. Space Jockey is a scrolling shoot-'em-up that's horizontal. Megaforce, Planet Patrol, and Bermuda Triangle, just to name a few. This one is a vertically scrolling video game on a home console. Of all the home console games we've played up to this point, this might only be the 6th vertically scrolling shoot-'em-up that we played. So there's not a lot that this can compare to. We've seen Space Chase that Apollo did, but I call that barely scrolling vertically. If you see it yourself, you can understand. I don't really want to call it a true scrolling, vertically scrolling shoot-'em-up. Vanguard is available to play on the Atari 2600 right now, and that one is very well done, but the scrolling isn't as smooth as this. It doesn't look that good. Beanie Bopper is another example of a game that's similar to this. Worm War 1 is another one. And then the one that comes really close would be like Fantastic Voyage. We also saw Red Clash ported over on the Arcadia 2001. Man, I'm just loving how you can just blow everything up and shoot everything. The sound for this game is great. It's what you'd expect to hear on the Atari 2600. I don't expect music for my video games on consoles up to this point. It's very rare for us to get any kind of music, but so good. On home consoles, we have seen vertically scrolling video games. Crazy Climber is available on the Arcadia 2001 and the Atari 2600. Also, Entombed is a vertically scrolling game. Spider-Man was scrolling vertically as you web-sling up the side of the building. There's some sports games that we've seen that scroll, like International Soccer, Pele Soccer, and Skiing are some examples. Haunted House also had vertical scrolling, but again, this is a lot of stuff on the screen, not just simple one or two colors like Haunted House had. Minds of Minos is another game that scrolls vertically. In a whole nother realm of scrolling games, Riddle of the Sphinx scrolls vertically. The weirdly bizarre Journey Escape, based on the band, scrolls vertically. And this one is really close to another game we've already seen by Activision called Skyjinx. Skyjinx was an airplane, again, like this, that is flying over the countryside. And it had no shooting, but it was a very well done flight game. It wouldn't surprise me if some of the elements from that game, from Skyjinx, were brought over to this one when Carol Shaw was trying to do something like Scramble. River Raid is based on... I think we're running low. Let's run slow over this. There we go. All right, we need to speed up because we need to get to the next fuel one, and then slow down. Yep, slow down. And that right there is how you get your fuel back. Man, I love how smooth the control is, though. It's very nice. This game has the classic arcade gameplay loop. You just keep going. How high of a score can you get? If you do get to the max score, which is 999,999, the game actually has an ending. It ends with all exclamation points if you get that far. Oh, but the way that this feels and plays is fantastic. It does offer checkpoints, so every time that you clear one of the bridges or blow the bridge up, that's essentially where you're saving. See, it loads us after our death to the next side. And checkpoints are still very fresh idea. There's not a whole lot of video games that are doing that up to this point. It also has turbo fire. I'm being a little more careful, but you have unlimited ammo. If you hold down the red button on your Atari 2600 joystick, it just keeps going. You just fire turbo, and it'll continue to fire like this. Another thing to bear in mind is the cartridge itself is 4 kilobytes in size. This game is 4 kilopower. The usual standard for video games on the Atari 2600, but how in the world is this game the same as some of the other games we've seen on that cartridge size? Alright, so this game is so good, I actually want to compare this not just to games you could play on home consoles. I want to compare this game to games you could play in the arcade. That's how good this is. Right now, some of the games that you could play in the arcade that are scrolling shoot-'em-ups, I say that this, River Raid, is better than Avenger in the arcade from 1975. I say that this game is better than Ozma Wars, a vertically scrolling shoot-'em-up, Phantom 2, or 0 Hour. I say this is better than Red Clash, or Mission X, or Funky Bee, or Zor, or Wild Western. That's how good this game is. I can confidently say it's better than some arcade games you could play right now. I would even say that River Raid could stand up with other arcade games like Borderline, or Star Raker, Radical Radial, Space Cruiser, Space Odyssey, or even Rusian. And the only reason I would call those arcade games better shooters than this is because they have just different game modes. This is a vertically scrolling shoot-'em-up. You know, it's just this one mode that you play the game, but it's done so well. It's polished. It's fantastic. So it would be tight. I could easily see myself saying those arcade games were a little bit better. So now I'm going to revert to the chat. Everyone that's here live in December 1982, and you were playing River Raid, and you've seen all the games we've seen up to this point, how would you rate this compared to everything else you could play across all home consoles? And I already saw 5s before I even started the show, because that's the thumbnail. I see 4.5, oh, maybe 5 from Brian. Brad saying 5. It says it has no faults. I love that. It is so fun to play. If you don't prefer the curved bullets, you can change that, but it has the quality of an arcade game at home. Russell's throwing out a 5-star. Wow, another one. 5 stars. And here on the show, if you rate a game anywhere between 4.5 and 5 stars, you're calling this game one of the best games you could play across all home consoles right now in December 1982. Mark's saying 5 as well. James saying 5. Oh, and that plane always... you gotta watch out for that one. Charlie's throwing out 4 stars. Still an excellent game if it has a 4 stars. Yeah, and yes, this has held up over time. I'm playing this in December and 1982, and this is still really good. Well, let me tell you why River Raid is an absolute 5-star game on the Atari 2600, and compared to all other video games on home consoles right now. First off, look at this scrolling. In 1982, almost no home games had this kind of smooth, continuous movement. It feels like you're playing a real arcade machine in your living room, and that alone is worth points right there. Second, the gameplay loop is perfect. You're not just mindlessly blasting enemies. I mean, you can, but you got boats, helicopters, bridges, all placed in ways that force you to think and react fast, and it keeps you locked in every second. That's even more points. Third is the fuel mechanic. Oh yeah, you actually have to manage your gas tank. You can't just fly forever. You got to plan ahead, hit those depots. Sometimes you have to even take risks to stay alive and add strategy that most shooters right now didn't even dream of. Fourth is the difficulty curve. It starts manageable, but the river gets narrower, enemies get faster, and you're just sweating to survive. It's hard, but always fair, and that's what keeps you coming back. Plus, you know when you're playing this game that you're the one that made the mistake because this controls so well. I said this with Skyjinx too. The way this flying an airplane, not a spaceship, not a sci-fi themed game, it feels like it was made for this controller. And finally, the pure fun factor of this game. Even today, this thing is addictive. You pick it up for 5 minutes or an hour, it's still a blast. And that's why River Raid, 5 stars, no question. And so I'm already gonna give the rating I would rate for River Raid, and I really appreciate everyone throwing out their ratings of what you would call this game based on everything else that's available out there. They're not gonna let me. There we go.
We have no choice. He can't
5
turn
stars
back.
for River
Target.
Raid. All right, and coming up next, after that game, it can only be downhill from here. Our very next game is on the Atari home computer. This is River Rat. Let's check out River Rat. Get that classic 80s music. I don't have a very good scan of the front of the box. This video game is only available on the Atari home computer. It's the 443rd game we've played for the Atari 400 or Atari 800. And it's the very first game we've ever seen by Zymag, or however you pronounce it. You can barely make out what's going on. We got someone on a boat running away, but it's really blurry. Here's an ad you would have seen from magazines a little bit later with some other releases that Zymag's gonna put out that we'll see. The development was done by Synchro. It's the 6th time we've seen this development company bringing us games like Alien Hell, Drac is Back, Mar Tesoro, Maze of Death, and Astron 4. And all those games had something weird or bizarre, so I'm expecting something weird here. Here's another catalog or ad you would have seen. There's River Rat, and then one we're going to see later, which was Collision Course, and I believe they were made about the same time, but River Rat was released first. Race your speedboat, unlimited class, up the river. Be sure to watch out for rafts, ducks, swimmers, other wildlife. Open up the throttle as wide as you dare. And don't forget the ramps and the feeling of exhilaration that comes from soaring above the river. Soaring above the river? We're going to fly or something? And there's an example of a screenshot. Yeah, this one, let's pop in that disc to play River Rat by Richard J. Wasmuth, released in the beginning of December 1982. This is the first and only video game that Richard has brought to the show or that we've seen on the show. So I don't know exactly how this is going to go. If it's Synchro, which has done some strange, bizarre games, and we have someone who's a brand new developer we haven't seen, then I don't really know what's going to happen. So first, let's see what options we got. Can we push select? Nope. Can we push option? Nope. So that means this is a single player only game. Richard knows that you're a nerd and have no friends, so you're going to play all by yourself. All right, so let's push start to begin. You're going to see the quality here. We got first boat, and then we're in. River Rat. You're not just flying a jet or piloting a spaceship this time. Nope. You're behind the wheel of a speedboat blasting your way up a river. The whole goal, get as far as you can before the timer runs out. You got 2 speeds, cruise mode for chillin', and if you push the red button on your Atari VCS joystick, you got speed mode or race mode. And you can floor it and you can, oh look at that, I just hit a jump on a ramp, barely died. If you push the red button, then you just go back to the normal road, or the normal speed. But the river's not empty. Oh no, you got ducks floating by. Those are harmless, just decoration. The swimmers, though, if you clip one of if you clip the rocks, you're dead. If you clip the swimmer, you just lose control for a few seconds. Then you got ramps that'll send you airborne, and while you're flying, you can't steer. Rowboats, rocks, piers, hit any of those, and boom, your boat explodes. You only get 3 of them, and once they're gone, that's it. 3 boats. So how many have we lost so far? 1 or 2? I can't remember. Also, you gotta make sure you hit the ramp, slow motion ramp. Scoring's very simple, but addictive. It's all about distance traveled. The farther you go, the more points you rack up. Any leftover time at the end of the level causes you get crashed for bonus points. And when you think you got it figured out, the later levels cram the river with even more chaos, and you go an even longer distance. It's the classic one more try vibe, tight control, simple concept. The river just keeps throwing curveballs at you. This control scheme is so simple, though. All I'm doing is moving left and right. I cannot move. Here, I'll just do another jump. I cannot move up and down. It doesn't do anything. And then I just have one button to speed up and then move left and right. So there's not a whole lot of nuance to the controls. Yeah, I like the weight behind it. We've seen other racing games or watercraft games like that, but not too many. This marks the 132nd racing or driving game that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. This is the 50th racing or driving game we've seen across all home computers up to this point, and it's the 11th one we've seen on the Atari home computer. Some of the best racing or driving games that you could play on this computer are some of the best on every computer. There's Getaway that we've seen. There's Speedway Blast. There's Formula One Racing by Sid Meier. There's Dodge Racer, Match Racer, and Baja Buggies. And there's our game over. It looks like the game's resetting when I push the red button. Did anyone else see that? And this one's only the second video game that we have ever played that involves watercraft racing. Now, we've played video games where you're on a boat or a submarine underwater, but as far as like just racing on a boat, this is only the second video game. The only other one was micro sailing on the Atari home computer. So this one does have a gameplay loop. It is very different because it's just based on time. How fast or how long can you get down the river? But there's no shooting. After going from River Raid, this seems a lot more boring. It's okay. It's all right. It does have the aquatic idea, and you are getting to control a boat. This is the 15th video game maybe that we've seen where you have a boat that you can control. The very first one we ever saw was PT 109 in the arcades in 1975, and some more noticeable ones lately have been Mermaid that we saw in the arcade, River Patrol in the arcade, Ship of the Line that you could play on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, Old Ironsides on the Apple II, and then there's another one called River Rescue that's on the VIC-20. That one's more like a shoot 'em up where you're driving a boat. That one's pretty cool. I would give that one the nod if you want to play something that's more exciting. Whoa! See, watch out for the people. They make your boat lose control for a little bit. So another vertically scrolling game, auto-scrolling game. It's that kind of night. Don't hit any other people. But this is it. See, the time's running out on the top left. If you can survive all the lives, if I can do it by the end of the time, let's see, 2 seconds. You see, it saves a temporary high score at the top, which is all right. And then, still going. Usually it gives us a bonus and then moves on to the next one, but it's not doing it this time. I'm not sure. I think there was a cartridge version planned for this, but they never had a cartridge version. It was either cassette or disc. All right, so looking over the chat, I can see most people are throwing out averages for most of the games you could play across all home computers. Kim Wilde saying 3 stars of all the games up to this point. James is 2.5 to 3 stars, and Charlie's 3. Those are all still pretty average for everything you could play up to this point. So I'm going to actually respond in kind. I was going to give this between 2.5 to 3 stars of all the games you could play across all home computers. Oh, John Hand saying 3.5. Jeremiah saying 3.5. Okay, got a few people saying above average. And then a 2.5 to 3 from Paul. So I'm thinking just average. It's an all right time. You'd have a good experience, but it's not doing anything to push above the other games we played on other home computers. All right, there you go. So that's River Rat. After that, what's next? Our very next video game is Robot Killer. This is for the Arcadia 2001. Let's check it out together. And here's the box for Robot Killer. This is the 38th game we've seen for this home console, the Arcadia 2001. But just like the games we played before, this whole box is a fabrication. This isn't real. It really didn't come out for the Arcadia 2001. It came out in other regions. It's available for the MPT-03, the Bandai Arcadia in Japan, the Henimex HMG 2650, and the Schmid TVG 2000. Did anyone have any of those consoles in the regions that they were released? So this whole box is just someone just fabricated. They took the picture from some of the cartridge or artwork and then slapped it on this, but it's not the real box. Yes, it says even the back of the box is not real. It's all fake, all an illusion. So what other artwork do we have for Robot Killer? We have a real box or real front of the manual. This is from the MPT-03. And that artwork looks even better. It actually is describing a better example of what this game is. The port for this game was done by UA Limited. It's the 34th time we've seen this company. They've pretty much done all the ports for this home console. And this one is single player only. So there are no modes again to play with other people. You have to play by yourself. Besides the box, fake boxes or not. This is what the Arcadia 2001 looks like. It has a digital joystick. It has a number pad. It's kind of similar to the Intellivision. The home console was one of the old school original consoles, and now it's kind of wearing thin. We've seen a lot of good strides on the Atari 2600, pushing what the games can do. This console is just very inconsistent. I'd actually give the Bally Astrocade a little nod over this one, considering the other consoles you could play right now. There's the example, a real scan of the cartridge you would pop into your system to play some Robot Killer, and that's where they got the artwork for the fake one. Yeah, Marshall's already saying it. It's a Berserk clone. I think they said it on the back of the box too. And we also have the example of the screenshot right there. All right, let's pop in and play some Robot Killer. This is by UA Limited and Hanimex, published in the beginning of December 1982. Possibly earlier, maybe just a little bit earlier. And there's some gameplay footage over on the left side. So in Robot Killer, you're going to navigate a series of electrified mazes, hunting down rogue robots while avoiding deadly retaliation. I'm bringing the volume way down because it usually gets pretty loud. Armed with multi-directional firepower, your mission is to purge every level of the mechanical menace, but stay sharp. Walls are electrified, robot fire is relentless, and an indestructible evil auto lurks in the corridors. That should sound familiar to everybody. So we can do different game options. If I do game option 1, 2, or 3, it just changes up the maze just a little bit. If I do game number 1, 2, or 3, it tells you what the robots are going to do, how they're going to shoot. So I'm just going to go with the default. Oh, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Sorry, so we have a little bit of options that we can switch the game up. Let's push start and hit it. It's a very bizarre scroll there. Oh, you know, the first thing is the left joystick works. Usually we have to switch joysticks. I had my second joystick plugged in ready to switch. I am controlling the very slow clone of the Intellivision Running Man. I guess when he goes up and down, he doesn't look like the Intel, but look at this on the side. In the center of the screen, do you see the purple blob growing? That means we need to keep moving because it's forming a face. And if you know your Berserk like I do, it's forming, yes, the bouncing evil auto. Take a look at the top of the screen. We've seen lots of Arcadia games do this where the number of lives moves in the direction you move. So my character's moving around and the lives do that. Some of the first developers that were programming games for the Arcadia did that, and it just keeps getting cloned. So slow movement. Now the game options is a plus, letting us decide, you know, if the robots are going to shoot us or not, and change the maze a little bit. But for the most part, it's basically Berserk. You can, whatever you want to call this, you can call these multi-directional shooters. You can call these run and guns. We've seen plenty of games that are like this, but we all know it's Berserk. Up to this point, the official Berserk games that you can play are going to be in the arcade, Berserk and Frenzy, and there's Berserk for the Atari 2600, and there's Berserk for the Vectrex. Those are the official ways to play Berserk right now. This marks the 25th time we've played a clone or copy of Berserk across all systems. This is the 5th Berserk clone or copy we've played across all home consoles. And it's the second one we've already seen on this home console. The Arcadia 2001 already has a game called Escape. So this one kind of feels close to Escape, but I say slower, and I would say not as robust. Escape is really where it's at if you want to play a really good Berserk game. Plus it's original. They have different ideas. They didn't just copy Evil Auto. Escape had like a spinner in the middle that came after you instead of the Evil Auto face. I don't have any manuals or artwork on this, so I don't even know if he's called Evil Auto. We played a game in the past where it was Evil Evan that was running after us. And yeah, someone asked about the robots shooting. In this game mode, I don't believe they shoot. I have been room to room, and I haven't seen if they actually fire back. You can switch out the game option to have them fire and shoot you, but it looks just like they just move in formation. Plus, if you notice, I can move in all 8 directions, and I can shoot in all 8 directions too. Is there turbo? Yeah, sort of, not really. But it does feel a little clunky. But on this home console, it would be impressive because we played so many games that are not even using the joystick. They use the number pad. This one uses the joystick. And we are using the right controller to play this. So if you only had this system, I hope you'd have Escape. But if you didn't, if you were in another region, then you would still have a pretty good time playing this one. On other home consoles right now, the games that play like Berserk or clones of Berserk would be Night Stalker on the Intellivision, which is called Dark Cavern on the Atari 2600. And there's also Marauder on the Atari 2600. This game is so generic that it's so easily Berserk and so rips off a sci-fi theme and a shooter theme of everything we've seen up to this point. I could make up the story for this. I don't need a manual. I can just tell you and make up on the spot what this game is, or the story for this game. It's the year 20XX. The robot uprising is no longer theoretical. They've already taken over major facilities. Humanity's hope rests in your hands. A lone operative, battling through sectors of automated strongholds to shut down central cores, armed only with your wits, a sidearm, and unshakable resolve. You're the last line of defense. Are you ready to face the machines? So that's the most work and effort I'm going to put into an Arcadia 2001 console game. We are going to be seeing more releases for this home console. I already stated before, up to this point, we've played, this one is the 38th game we played across all the games so far on this system. And for gameplay, I really actually can't fault this. So right now, I wouldn't call this a bad title for all the games you could play on home consoles. One reason is just because there's not a whole lot of Defender-like games. But what's strange is, look at the way this scrolls. When we saw Berserk in the arcades, it was doing flip screen scrolling, where it would like scroll the screen to the side. When we leave the screen, we're really not getting options to move from room to room. It's a very boring way to move and progress the gameplay. And whenever we move to the next screen, why is it scrolling vertically as if we left the top of the screen? It's just a very strange, bizarre choice. And again, to put it in perspective, this video game, the cartridge is 4 kilobytes in size. This is 4 kilopower, the same size cartridge as River Raid. That's what's another amazing thing to think of. Of all the games you've seen up to this point, or if we've seen up to this point, if you want to look in the link down below for all the games we played so far, you can look up the cartridge size for games on home consoles and just see how amazing River Raid is based on what they were working with, how much space they had to work with to play the game. Oh, and great point, Paul. Where's the talking? We didn't see it on the Atari 2600 either, or on the Vectrex. So yeah, if you want the taunts, then go to the arcade for them to say, chicken fight like a robot, and so forth. All right, so there you go. That's just a quick taste of Robot Killer. Of all the games you could play up to this point on all home consoles, Robot Killer is another, it's not really like doing something incredibly amazing for home consoles so far, but I would say that this one still could be considered average, maybe 2.5 stars to 3 stars. Charlie's even saying 2. If you say 2 stars or 1.5 stars, that's you saying this is a bad game when you consider all the games you could play across all home consoles. James is saying 2.5, Brad's 2.5, another 2-star from Kim Wilde. M. Tiskey saying 3, about average for everything up to this point. Marshall's 2. I'm actually going to go 2.5 stars. So I'm not going to call Robot Killer a bad game of everything you could play on home consoles, but it has a little something to be desired. I'll put it that way. All right, and that's where we got to put all the video game playing on pause. I want to have a big shout out to everybody that's on our Patreon right now helping support the show. If you think we're going too slow, do you think we're not playing enough video games? I mean, is one show a week not enough for you? Or is not enough video games in one episode not enough for you? Then support us on Patreon so we can have more shows during the week and have more games that we play, because this is only December 1982. We have a lot of games to go when we get to 1983. So I really appreciate, again, everyone that's here for the live show, being with me in December 1982, seeing the games, playing the games, and rating the games as if this was all that existed. Well, next time on Chronologically Gaming, the saga continues of Scott Adams games, now for the Atari home computer. The latest game talking to us on the Odyssey 2, and we are scrambling to get more games for the Vectrex before Christmas. That's it for today, and like I always say, it's an action battle adventure strategy game kind of night, and it plays like the real arcade. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and be a chronologically gaming influencer, rating the games as we play them. This video wouldn't be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and Maine. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every video game. We have links down below that give more information on the games we played this episode, as well as our Discord and Patreon. There's a link called All the Games We Have Played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.